Hi, I'm physical therapist Dr. Kelsey Work, and today I'm going to show you how to use a lacrosse ball to release shoulder muscles. You can also use, if you don't have a lacrosse ball, you can also use tennis balls, softballs, or any other soft or semi-solid ball that you might have at home. I do like lacrosse balls because of the density, but feel free to use what you've got. So the area we're going to focus on is behind the shoulder blade. So essentially anywhere from, if you want to think of your chicken wing or your scapula over to this side, there's muscles that sit all along the back of the shoulder here. So here in a moment, you're going to see me lay on it. And from there, once you find a sensitive spot, it is meant to be a quote unquote hurt so good. It is not meant to be excruciating. If you find a sensitive or sore spot, my rule for myself and for my patients is no more than a 4 out of 10 on the pain scale. So if it's a 4 or less, that's good to go. If it's increasing more than a 4, it's not actually helping you, and it's time just to get on. Once you find a sensitive spot, you can kind of lean into it and then play with some movement. So I'm gonna lay down. I'm gonna put that ball on the back of my shoulder blade. I like to have my knees bent. That way I can be able to lift my hips up to increase the pressure, or also I can kind of lift my back to take pressure away. So from here, I'm kind of moving my body left and right. And let's say right there, I've got kind of a sensitive spot. So I'm gonna kind of lean into it. Again, to increase the pressure, you could lift your hips up or turn your body onto that side. You could also see what happens when you start to move your elbow up and out. So right there is a really sensitive spot for me. Again, it's a hurt so good, not super painful. I can just tell it needs work. And now from here, I'm gonna rotate my forearm back and my forearm forward. And that is just a nice way to actively release. You could also just choose, once you find a sore spot, to breathe into it and just hang out. So anywhere from 30 seconds to a couple minutes. The idea is that that should start to soften or at least become less tender. Then you could move on to a next spot. So let's say I want to get closer to in between my blade and the spine. I'm going to move it in between my shoulder blade and then the bones of my back. This won't feel good if it's on bone. So you want to kind of find somewhere that feels more like muscle. So I'm right in between my spine and my shoulder blade, and that's another sensitive spot for me. So again, to increase pressure, I could lift my hips up, or to take pressure away, I could kind of arch my back or lift my ribs. I'm going to lean into it, take some nice deep breaths. And then again, for this one, because I'm on one of the muscles that attach near the shoulder blade again, I like to experience and experiment with what it feels like to move my arms. So I'm kind of coming out like a snow angel, or you could move up as a wall angel, or again, just play with subtle routines. So another shoulder muscle that you can use the ball to release is your lat. So your lat is kind of this meaty part on the outside of your armpit. You won't want to really be on your ribs, that'll be pretty sensitive, but as you come up and kind of find this bigger part or the flap part of your armpit, that's where you're going to focus. So with this one, I like to lay on my side, and again, I've targeted that ball into basically that big part of my armpit, and then again, being on my side, I'm using my other hand to kind of roll my body to and from. So right there, again, I found a sensitive spot. You could experiment with rotation, so rolling your torso forward, rolling your torso backward. Again, that up and down movement. Once you find a sensitive spot, you can experiment with moving the arm to do that active release. So I like to kind of rest my head. I'll bring my elbow to a bent position and play with rotation, or I'll lift the head just to give my arm basically space to move and bring my arm up overhead and then back down. So again, this was working on the lat. It's this big muscle here on the side. Again, you want to kind of avoid the ribs or anywhere where you've got bone, but you could work anywhere into that area to release your lat if your shoulder muscle is using a lacrosse ball. Again, anywhere from 30 seconds to a couple minutes. You can definitely do this daily to work on any tight spots. So I'm going to continue to show you how you can use a ball to release your shoulder muscles in standing. This would be a good alternative if laying on the ground isn't comfortable to you, or if it just makes more sense based on where you're at in your day. So lacrosse ball, this is basically it's the exact same ball, I just put it in a tube sock. I like to do this because it's just, frankly, things fall sometimes when you put this between yourself and the wall, and so this is kind of handy to hold on to. I use this now, the tube sock, to pin this between my body and the wall. So I've kind of leaning, I've stepped away from the wall, so that allows me to use my body weight to leverage myself to be able to push back in, because it's that pressure that kind of helps to soften and release the muscle. So I found a sensitive spot right there on the back of my shoulder blade. So again, my options are I can kind of just stay and lean into it and take some deep breaths. I can start to use active release by using movement. So I might rotate my torso towards the ball, keeping my shoulder blade pinned, and then rotate my torso away. I can start to bring my arm out to the side, kind of like a snow angel movement, or I guess, yeah, that's snow angel. This would be more of a wall angel movement. Both are great to try. I also really like, because of where the shoulder blade muscles attach and what they do, a lot of them are rotation movements. So rotating from the elbow and the forearm, rotating down and then back up, you'll find that that really can target some of those muscles as well. So pain scale wise, you're thinking of 0 to 10. You don't ever want your pain to really exceed a 4. So it's uncomfortable, not painful, and it should actually start to ease up the more that you do this. Okay, so that's working on the back of the shoulder blade. You could also do the armpit one again. So you're kind of leaning into the wall this way. I can kind of lose the sock with this one. And then I'm using my body weight again to kind of go up and then down. Once I find that sore spot, I will let my arm raise towards the sky and come back down, reposition if you need. And then I'm rolling my torso kind of forward onto the ball or backward, find a new sensitive spot. I'm gonna kind of hold it with this because I can tell it's gonna wanna fall. And then I'm using my arm again to use that active release. So again, this was using a lacrosse ball on how to release tension in your shoulder blade muscles. Thanks for watching. Subscribe or like for more.